The clinking of chains echoed through the air, their fragility apparent as Shi Chuangkong sneered, mocking the city's guards. These chains are subpar. Perhaps the vast Origin House could offer a more durable alternative, he said with a sly grin, casting a mocking glance at the Eighth Prince. Han Li, sensing the tension, sighed inwardly. With Shi Chuangkong's presence, the flames of conflict only seemed to intensify, and the situation could easily spiral out of control. Though Shi Chuangkong ensured his safety, the end of this ordeal was far from clear. The Eighth Prince, seething with anger, made a move to retaliate, but was suddenly interrupted by a calm, distant voice. It seems crowded here. What is happening? A humble beast-drawn carriage appeared, its owner hidden within. At the sound of the voice, Shi Chuangkong's face lit up, and he eagerly rushed toward it. The Eighth Prince stiffened, the golden light around him flickering and receding, as his formidable devilish projection disappeared. Han Li, ever cautious, silently withdrew his true spirit projections as Shi Chuangkong drew closer to the carriage. A man in white robes emerged from the vehicle, his silver hair cascading over his shoulders, exuding an aura of warmth and authority. His resemblance to Shi Chuangkong was undeniable, and the moment their eyes met, Shi Chuangkong was already hurrying to him. Pokong, Shi Chuangkong called, excitement in his tone as he seized the man's hand. Welcome back, Chuangkong, the man Shi Pokong greeted with a steady voice, though his eyes gleamed with emotion. At his arrival, the bystanders knelt in reverence, a stark contrast to the cold reception the Eighth Prince had received. A low hum of dissatisfaction escaped the prince's lips as he turned away, unwilling to witness this further. Han Li observed silently. So, this is Shi Pokong, he thought. Shi Pokong dismissed the formalities with a flick of his sleeve, lifting all those who knelt to their feet with ease. His aura was enigmatic, and even Han Li's sharp spiritual sense could not pierce the depths of his cultivation. Turning to the Eighth Prince, Shi Pokong spoke in a measured tone. I understand the importance of city security, but we must avoid stirring up unnecessary chaos. Panic among the citizens would only harm the city's stability. The Eighth Prince's expression darkened but relented, acknowledging the wisdom in Shi Pokong's words. Indeed, however, this man, Li Feiyu, is an Immortal Realm cultivator, and we must verify his identity before allowing him entry, he explained, handing over the identity token he had reluctantly accepted. With a deft motion, Shi Pokong sent the token toward Han Li, who caught it with a steady hand. On one side, a golden dragon was etched, while the other bore his true likeness. Han Li's heart skipped a beat. He had only recently revealed his true form. Hold on to it well, fellow Taoist Li, Shi Pokong said with a warm smile. The group made their way into the city, the gate's stone mirror shining down upon them but failing to trigger any alarms. The Eighth Prince, however, glared after them, his anger barely contained. Nearby, a gray-robed man watched the trio before retreating into a quiet corner. He produced a purple disc from his robes, whispered a message into it, and with a flash of purple light, vanished into the earth. Meanwhile, Han Li's group walked through Night Sun City's grand streets, flanked by towering buildings of opulence, yet eerily quiet. The air seemed heavy with an invisible force, and Han Li's eyes were drawn to the hovering black orbs above, their strange runes emitting a subtle, pervasive energy. Shi Chuangkong caught his gaze and explained, those orbs are part of the city's flight restriction array. To fly here is a grave offense, punishable by severe consequences. Han Li nodded, acknowledging the powerful wards in place. I owe you an apology, fellow Taoist Li, Shi Chuangkong said, his tone apologetic. If not for your timely intervention, things might have ended far worse. It's nothing, Han Li replied with a dismissive wave. The conflict was inevitable, given the circumstances. I suppose you're right, Shi Chuangkong admitted with a rueful smile. Thank heavens Pokong arrived in time. But you should have informed me before entering the city. I would have arranged for an escort, Shi Pokong chastised gently, though his words carried a weight of wisdom. I'll be more careful next time, Shi Chuangkong promised nonchalantly. Shi Pokong shook his head with a wry smile before turning to Han Li. Let's continue this conversation elsewhere. This is not the place. With that, they boarded a nearby carriage, and Han Li, as his personal guard, took a seat outside. The carriage sped towards a majestic manor, its entrance guarded by fearsome lion statues and vibrant armored guards. The sheer scale of the place spoke of immense wealth and power. Upon arrival, they were led into a grand hall where Shi Pokong turned to Han Li with a look of gratitude. Fellow Taoist Li, your protection of Chuan Kong is invaluable. If there is anything you wish, name it. I will see to it. Han Li declined, reminding Shi Pokong of their prior agreement. A brief flicker of surprise crossed the older man's face, but he quickly masked it, nodding in understanding. Then I will see to your accommodations, he said, before signaling for a servant to attend to Han Li. The servant, a thin, effeminate youth with a cold, calculating gaze, led Han Li away, leaving the two brothers to converse privately. In the stillness of the hall, Shi Pokong leaned in, his voice dropping lower. Where did you find such a remarkable ally? Is he trustworthy? He asked, his curiosity piqued. Shi Chuankong recounted the details of their bond, emphasizing Han Li's trustworthiness. He has saved my life more times than I can count. Then you owe him everything, Shi Pokong said seriously. As for tracking Violet's spirit, it may be challenging, but with Han Li's help, it should be possible. Shi Chuankong grew agitated. Why is father aligning with John Feng? Does he truly intend for him to succeed? Shi Pokong's brow furrowed as he explained. Father's plans are murky. The Grand Priest's defection is a blow to us, but I will do what I can to sway him. The conversation ended on a somber note, with Shi Chuankong fuming as he paced. Shi Pokong's voice rang out firmly, his words wrapped in restraint as he spoke of his elder brother, John Feng. Do not speak of him so recklessly. Many centuries ago, John Feng ventured into the Blackwater Mountain Range, purging the bandits who had plagued the land for years. For his valor, father entrusted him with control over the priests. This, however, has only led to further complications, with our father's thoughts remaining more obscure than ever. Shi Chuankong smiled, his demeanor serene as he waved a hand, summoning a silver lute. Fear not, Pokong. My time in the true Immortal Realm was not in vain, he declared, the Virata lute materializing with a flash of light. Shi Pokong's eyes narrowed in curiosity. Is that the Virata lute? Indeed, Shi Chuankong replied, offering it to his younger brother. This treasure is sure to please father. If you present it to him, he will surely reward you. Shi Pokong, ever proud, rejected the gesture, shaking his head. You recovered this lute, not I. It is you who should take the honors. Nonsense, Shi Chuankong countered, his smile widening. What is mine is yours. You have the standing of a prince. Take the lute to father, and surely you will gain his favor. A thoughtful silence settled over Shi Pokong, but he soon spoke with a knowing smile. You've managed the vast Origin House so well. Father has great regard for you. Do not waste such an opportunity. Perhaps the path to succession lies before you. I only ventured to the true Immortal Realm for you, Shi Chuankong said, sincerity lacing his tone. I've never thought to claim the position for myself. Shi Pokong, unperturbed, chuckled softly. You've grown much during your time away. You possess both talent and diligence. If father favors you, don't decline. Our interests align. Shi Chuankong hesitated, his brow furrowing slightly. Has something happened, Pokong? No, I've merely had an epiphany, came the calm reply. The path to the throne is important, but one must not become obsessed. Sometimes it is best to let things unfold naturally. Shi Chuankong looked upon his brother in surprise. The weight of ambition had long been on Shi Pokong's shoulders, a force that had driven him tirelessly. To hear such a change in his brother's words left him speechless. I've made progress in my cultivation, Shi Pokong added softly, and it has altered my mindset. The great encompassment stage still eludes me, but I've made strides. Excitement sparkled in Shi Chuankong's eyes. You've nearly reached it, haven't you? Not yet, Shi Pokong answered, his tone modest. But I will get there soon enough. Shi Chuankong's gaze softened. Don't risk everything for me again. Our mother would be heartbroken if anything happened to you. A shadow of melancholy passed over Shi Chuankong's face, but he nodded in understanding. I will be careful. As the conversation shifted to lighter topics, Shi Chuankong recounted his travels in the true Immortal Realm, his eyes gleaming with tales of danger and near-death experiences. Shi Pokong listened intently, his expression hardening with disapproval at the risks his brother had taken. That Li Feiyu. He is indeed a remarkable person, Shi Pokong mused. His mastery of time and strength beyond his cultivation base are unparalleled. Stay close to him, for he may be a valuable ally. Shi Chuankong nodded in agreement. Brother Li and I have formed a bond, and I trust him completely. The conversation soon turned to the Black Weasel King, and Shi Pokang's eyes narrowed with suspicion. It's fortunate you forged an alliance with a cultivator of the Great Encompassment. The Black Weasel King has already sent word to me, but his true intentions remain unclear. Should I worry? Shi Chuankong asked. Do not concern yourself. Just focus on your cultivation, Shi Pokang advised. I've arranged for you to enter the Moon God Altar in 7 days. Prepare yourself and aim for the high zenith stage. Shi Chuankong's brow furrowed. Father is in seclusion again? Yes, he has been increasingly secretive. We don't know what he is up to. Strange indeed, mused Shi Chuankong. Shi Pokang smiled, waving off further concerns. Rest, brother. You've been through much. Let us focus on your recovery. Shi Chuankong stood, glancing at the Virata lute one last time before leaving the hall. But before he could depart, Shi Pokang's voice rang out. The lute is yours. Present it to father yourself. Shi Chuankong paused, then sighed, and stowed the lute away before making his exit. Once alone, Shi Pokang's demeanor shifted. A black shadow coiled around him, materializing into the form of a purple-robed youth. Everything is arranged, Your Highness. Fellow Taoist Li is settled in the long pavilion garden, the youth reported. Keep watch over him, Shi Pokang ordered, his tone sharp. We know little of his true intentions. Understood, Your Highness, the youth replied, vanishing into the shadows. With a final glance at the empty hall, Shi Pokang departed, his mind heavy with the complexities ahead. Meanwhile, Han Li rested in the courtyard provided for him, surrounded by layers of powerful restrictions. In the solitude of his chamber, he ventured to the Flower Branch domain, where he visited Weeping Soul. Her condition remained unchanged, and Han Li could do little but hope that Shi Chuankong would succeed in obtaining the Grand Priest's aid. As he pondered the dangers of his current path, Han Li knew that his position was precarious. Despite his friendship with Shi Chuankong, he was now a key figure in the tangled web of princes and princesses, each with their own schemes. His previous actions had already bound him to this conflict, and he knew it would be hard to stay on the sidelines any longer. Han Li sat in deep contemplation, his mind swirling with the unrelenting currents of fate. A long sigh escaped his lips as he dispelled his thoughts, resigning himself to the ebb and flow of circumstances. The path ahead was no longer within his grasp, and all he could do was adapt to the twists of fortune. With a resolve tempered by the weight of his situation, Han Li settled onto the floor, legs crossed in meditation. From his storage tool, the black bone ring, he summoned its contents. For long, he and Shi Chuankong had been traversing vast distances, never once finding time to explore the treasures hidden within. But now his eyes gleamed as he reached into the ring, his spiritual sense probing the depths of its contents. After an hour of careful inspection, his eyes fluttered open once more. In front of him, 8 white stone pillars emerged, half a foot tall, glowing faintly with an ethereal light. The air thickened as a powerful, bone-chilling aura poured from the pillars. Han Li's bones quivered involuntarily under the weight of their law power. The 8 bone pagodas were revealed to be the devilish treasures of Taoist Master Bone Shine, formidable even without a master to control them. Despite being unable to wield them himself, Han Li could still sense their potency, ready to serve him in a battle of life and death. A faint smile curved his lips as he summoned the profound heavenly gourd. A burst of green light surged forth, sweeping up the bone pagodas. Within moments, the pagodas were shattered, their essence broken down into 8 radiant orbs of white light. Han Li's eyes gleamed with satisfaction, for these orbs contained tremendous law powers, an invaluable weapon for his future struggles. However, as he lingered on the orbs, a strange occurrence unfolded. The 8 orbs began to draw together, merging into a single, much larger sphere, its light dimming but still potent. Within it, a projection of gray bone began to form, exuding a foreboding presence. Han Li's heart stirred as he realized the immense power contained within. This was no mere artifact. It was a force that could threaten even the mightiest of cultivators, a power worthy of the Great Encompassment stage. His curiosity piqued. Han Li turned his attention to the other items in the ring. He picked up a white bone badge inscribed with countless characters. Among them, the bone-withering scripture caught his eye, an ancient cultivation art for devilish cultivators. Though its value was undeniable, Hanli had no need for it, his focus firmly on the laws of time. Instead, he skimmed through the scripture, paying special heed to the cultivation insights within. Next, he retrieved a small black statue, a devilish deity with 3 heads and 6 arms. With a single thought, Hanli infused the statue with his spiritual sense. It sprang to life, twisting into 12 distinct postures, each accompanied by an ancient text. Hanli studied the movements, his mind racing to decipher the hidden meaning within. Though he could not comprehend the script, he recorded the texts onto a jade slip, hoping to uncover their secrets in time. Amidst all these treasures, one stood out: 2 million devilish origin stones, a fortune that would surely sustain him throughout his time in the devil realm. Hanli's lips curled into a faint smile, knowing that his immediate needs were secure. Turning to Taoist Shai, he handed over the black bone ring. Brother Shay, please sort through these items. Take anything you find useful, he instructed. Taoist Shay accepted the ring with a nod and began to examine its contents. With that, Han Li returned to his room. It was dark outside, but something caught his attention. A faint, lingering presence outside his window, a subtle aura barely perceptible. He knew instantly it was Shi Po Kong's surveillance. Though the intrusion was expected, Han Li had no intention of confronting it. Instead, he chose to ignore it and continued with his plans. The following morning, Han Li was greeted by Shi Chuangkong, who came bearing news. Fellow Taoist Li, I have spoken with my brother regarding the Grand Priest. He has sworn allegiance to my eldest brother, making it difficult to recruit his services. But rest assured, we are working on a solution, Shi Chuangkong explained, his tone serious. Han Li's brow furrowed. I don't mean to rush you, but I have very little purple sun warm jade left. If you can, please expedite the matter. Shi Chuangkong nodded. I've already made arrangements, and I'll see to it that the matter is handled swiftly. Thank you, fellow Taoist Shi, Han Li replied, his expression easing. I'll wait a little longer. Shi Chuangkong then revealed that he would be entering seclusion to attempt a breakthrough to the high zenith stage. Han Li offered his congratulations, knowing that with Shi Chuangkong's aptitude, success was all but assured. After their brief exchange, Shi Chuangkong left, and Han Li's thoughts darkened. He remained still for a long moment, the weight of the situation pressing on him. Days slipped by, and soon, half a month had passed with Shi Chuangkong in seclusion. Han Li, meanwhile, had spent his time researching materials regarding Weeping Soul's condition and the cultivation of spirit domains. In this pursuit, Shi Chuangkong had provided him with a stack of rare books from his private collection, containing valuable insights into spiritual damage and the sealing of nascent souls. Though many of the techniques within were devilish in nature, Han Li had no interest in them. He was determined to uncover the truth behind the enigmatic spirit domain he had encountered, and these books might hold the key. Han Li's heart sank as he realized that no records he found in the vast tomes aligned with Weeping Soul's condition. Her soul remained intact, the purple sun warm jade having long healed any prior damage, and her nascent soul was not confined by any seal. Frustrated, he sighed, acknowledging that he would need to forge a new path to cure her. His hopes for Shi Po Kong's efforts in securing the Grand Priest's aid dimmed. The priest, aligned with Shi Zanfeng, one of Shi Po Kong's greatest rivals in the race for the throne, would never offer assistance. As Han Li delved deeper into his research, he discovered a wealth of knowledge on spirit domains, a field he had underestimated in the past. His earlier encounters with spirit domains, including the creation tier domains manifested by Xiao Jinhan and Feng Tiandu, had only scratched the surface. Though Mo Yu had guided him in manifesting his own spirit domain, he had been kept in the dark on many finer details, leading him to a deeper understanding now. Han Li learned that the creation and spirit form tiers of spirit domains were not bound by a fixed progression. One could ascend to the spirit form tier without first attaining the creation tier, though this would stunt the growth of the domain spirit. Nevertheless, both tiers demanded immense dedication, resources, and time. The creation tier alone could take tens of thousands of years to manifest and required the fusion of various attributes with one's great Tao. Even then, failure was a possibility, and failure would lead to the destruction of the fused objects. Cultivators who managed to create sentient domain spirits were exceedingly rare. for few were willing to delay their progress to such a degree. Thus, even high-level cultivators, including those at the great encompassment and high zenith stages, often possessed only ordinary spirit domains, while creation and spirit form tier domains remained the domain of the most exceptional. Despite this newfound understanding, Hanli was not yet ready to pursue the creation or spirit form tiers, for he had more pressing matters at hand. Seated in meditation, he reflected on his cultivation, particularly the great five elemental illusion mantra he had recompiled. After spending a century in constant movement, he had not had the time to fully study the mantra. Having already mastered several time-based cultivation arts, he believed the great five elemental illusion mantra would prove no great challenge. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Han Li emerged from seclusion, though Shi Chuankong remained deep in his own meditation. During his time in seclusion, Han Li had made little progress in the mantra, though he had discovered several misconceptions about his cultivation. He had initially believed he had mastered the third level, but in reality, he was still at the first level, as the mantra was far more complex than he had anticipated. Han Li's seclusion had not been disrupted by any significant issues. But he had come out to check on Weeping Soul. She remained unchanged, and Shi Pokong had not visited since Shi Chuankong had begun his seclusion. Han Li sensed continued surveillance, but no progress had been made. Determined, he set out into the city in search of new ways to help Weeping Soul. Leaving the long pavilion garden, Han Li encountered several devilish cultivators who bowed respectfully to him, aware of his connection to Shi Chuankong. Just as he was about to depart, a voice called out behind him. "Please wait a moment, Senior Lai." Turning, he saw a petite woman clad in black, her youthful face bearing sprightly features. She exuded the aura of an early body integration cultivator. "Do you have instructions for me?" Han Li inquired. "Of course not, Senior Li. I've been sent by His Highness, the Third Prince, to guide you around the city," the woman responded with a respectful bow. A glint of understanding flickered in Han Li's eyes. Shi Pokong had replaced the previous surveillant with this woman, showing a measure of caution. He nodded with a smile, agreeing to her guidance. The woman, whose name was Hu Jingjing, quickly summoned a carriage. The beasts, azure-scaled and horned, drew a sleek black carriage with no cabin, but a soft seat for three. They departed, and Han Li, intrigued, asked, "What is the market like?" Hu Jingjing explained that the Imperial River Market, one of the 8 largest in the Maha area, lay at the boundary between the Naraka and Maha areas, separated by the Imperial Garden River. The market stretched along the river's bank for miles, and once they entered, they would be required to travel on foot, a rule set by Shi Jianfeng. "What would you like to buy, Senior Li?" Hu Jingjing asked. "I'm just browsing," Han Li replied. "But tell me about the market's layout." Hu Jingjing shared the market's arrangement and provided insight into other major markets in the city. Han Li listened attentively, preparing for whatever new discovery this excursion might bring. As Han Li's gaze swept across the bustling bridge, the surroundings were teeming with carriages and pedestrians. Beside him, the railing offered a clear view of immense water-dwelling beasts, their backs carrying lavish luchuans or pulling them through the flowing waters. Hu Jingjing, her voice light with knowledge, spoke of the grand, flowing wind pavilion, the most renowned shop in the Imperial River Market, backed by His Highness Shi Jianfeng. The goods there were of the finest quality, yet exorbitantly priced. Next in line was the Vast Origin House, a prestigious branch of the Vast Origin, famed for its reputation though slightly lesser in grandeur. "Is the Vast Origin House's true headquarters here?" Han Li inquired with quiet curiosity. "No," Hu Jingjing responded, "it's a branch here, with the main house situated in another market within the Maha area." Their carriage crossed over the bridge, and they disembarked to continue their journey on foot. Han Li listened intently as she spoke of the wealth of treasures sold in the market, both from the Holy Realm and the Immortal Realm, highlighting the Immortal Spirit Pavilion, which specialized in Immortal Realm wares. "Who stands behind that shop?" Han Li's question was casual but deliberate. "The 12th Prince, Shi Jingkai," Hu Jingjing explained. "Though he is a true immortal, he has never taken cultivation seriously, preferring instead to travel to secret immortal caves and gather rare items." Han Li smiled slightly. He dares to visit those places despite his cultivation level? Yes, Hu Jingjing chuckled, and his sister, the fifth princess, is forever worried. To ensure his safety, she has arranged for 3 high zenith cultivators and a great encompassment cultivator to accompany him. Upon reaching the market's entrance, Han Li suddenly halted, the archway towering before him. You may leave now, he said with a calm finality. Her face froze, puzzled, but his words were firm. You know too much for a body integration cultivator. I can navigate the market alone. With a curt bow, Hu Jingjing left without a word, her frustration evident as she walked away. Han Li watched her retreat before turning his attention to the lively street filled with shops, each distinct in style, unlike the uniform structures of Shipokong's manor. The people appeared mostly human, with subtle devilish traits, scales, horns, or colored eyes. Yet among them, Han Li blended in, unnoticed. He soon found himself before the Immortal Spirit Pavilion, its business slower than its neighbors. But a familiar spiritual energy emanated from within, a signature of the Immortal Realm. Stepping inside, he was greeted by a young man in scholarly robes who welcomed him with a polite smile. May I assist you? The young man asked. I'm curious why such a shop exists in the Devil Realm, Han Li inquired, intrigued by the place's unusual presence. We cater to cultivators like yourself, the man explained. Human cultivators exist in the Devil Realm just as devils do in the Immortal Realm. Han Li nodded, then presented a list of rare materials. The young man inspected it, his brows furrowing with concern. Only the first 2 materials are available here. The rest are beyond our current stock. Han Li wasn't troubled. Do what you can, he said nonchalantly. The young man hesitated before explaining the cost of transferring the rare materials from the Immortal Realm. Han Li agreed to wait 10 years for the next scheduled transfer, accepting the additional cost for early shipment. Then please follow me, the young man said, leading Han Li deeper into the shop to retrieve the available materials. Meanwhile, far from the market, Hu Jingjing arrived at a white building in the imperial city's courtyard. Inside, she found Shi Pokong, the silver-haired man focused on his painting. A stormy mountain scene with a solitary figure struck by lightning. Upon seeing her, he set down his brush. What brings you back so soon? With a deep bow, Hu Jingjing recounted every detail of her encounter with Han Li, even mimicking his expressions and tone. Shi Pekong listened attentively, only asking when she had finished. Did you attempt to follow him after he dismissed you? No. Hu Jingjing replied hastily, I followed your instructions and did not overstep. You did well, Shi Pekong praised, yet Hu Jingjing's eyes flickered with hesitation. What is it? He asked, sensing her unease. Hu Jingjing's voice dropped to a whisper. When we reached the Imperial River Market, his demeanor changed. I was frightened by his sudden shift and refrained from following him. Shi Pekong's smile faltered, his expression unreadable as he considered her words.